And we're about to go live again. Hello, everyone. It's Alicia Vianga. And today we have a special guest, Dr. Christina Hibbert. And some of you already know who she is. Hello. And so we're going to get her on here. And I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you're enjoying fantastic day. I see Dr. Christina. She's now sending a request and she should be coming in quite soon. Ouch. I didn't quite get it. Let me see if I could get her on again. Invite her in. Fantastic. So we're just waiting for her to come in. I hope everyone is enjoying the day. It is gorgeous here in Toronto. Hello.
Hello. Can you
How,
hear me okay?
yes, I'm hearing you okay. I'm seeing you okay. And yes,
Perfect.
so I got home today.
Actually, I just arrived in California, in San Diego. So I haven't been anywhere in months. This is like, I have not left my house except for surgery and doctor's appointments since February. So this is pretty amazing. We made it to California, and I'm actually going to get a little vacation, I hope so.
This is a treat for you.
It is. It's a well-deserved, long-awaited treat to get out of the house.
Wow, this is awesome. So the last time we talked and we saw each other was on Zoom, and you were going for reconstruction. But before we talk about that, why don't you tell our listening audience, the people who's looking at us, who is Dr. Christina?
Well, I am a psychologist and an author and a speaker. And I was diagnosed with breast cancer in July last year, 2019. And I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. But it was only stage 1. So I thought, okay, this is going to be not too bad, pretty easy. Although I do have a family history. And about 2 weeks after I was diagnosed, I found out I do have the BRCA1 gene. But I actually had already had a double mastectomy. So within a week, to the day that I was diagnosed, a week after the day I was diagnosed, I had my double mastectomy and was technically cancer-free as of that point, which is crazy to me because it's almost been a year. We're coming up on 11 months here, and I'm still going through all the treatment consequences and processes. It's so crazy to me to think that I'm not actually battling cancer because that was removed from me, but I'm doing all of these other things like chemotherapy and all these surgeries just to kind of make sure that it doesn't come back. So kind of long story short, I've had a lot of surgeries. I had that double mastectomy right away, found out I was BRCA1 positive after that, and had started reconstruction with a double mastectomy. And so in September, I decided, okay, let's do the reconstruction swap for implants from expanders and do a hysterectomy at the same time to take away that problem. And I thought that will be it. I'll have all my surgeries done. We'll do 2 times under, 3 surgeries, get it done. And of course, 10 days after that, I developed a staph infection and had to get my right implant taken out. And then 10 days after that, I started chemotherapy, which I had hoped I wouldn't have to do being stage 1, but because of the triple negative breast cancer, it was just kind of you kind of have to do this no matter what. So I did do chemotherapy for 3 months, and I did cold cap. That's something I always want to talk about with people, because I know a lot of people don't know about that, but that's how I have hair. This is my real hair. And I mean, this is about what it would look like all over my head without cold capping, because this is where I lost a bunch of hair right here. So that was a miracle that worked. And, but at the end, as I was really sick from chemotherapy, I was basically pretty sick the whole time. And right before my last round, it wasn't an infection, but we had some problems related to chemo with the left side. So I had the left implant removed. So I had expanders, I had implants, then I was one boob woman, then I was no boob woman. Then I finished chemo and thought, okay, good. It's the end of the year, January. We're going to get going again and I'm going to live again. And then I had developed blood clots from chemo. We didn't do a port because I had so many surgeries. I'd already had 4 surgeries right before chemo. And so we didn't do a port because it was only 4 rounds. But the chemo wrecked my veins and probably I'm going to always have blood clots on both sides. So I went on medicine for that, and that made me really sick. And then it made me start bleeding, which I was like, I just had a hysterectomy, so I'm pretty sure it's not vaginal bleeding. And it turned out that I had also developed really huge kidney stones as a result of chemotherapy. So kind of going through this in, January, February, March, we finally had an appointment with the doctor to check up on what's going on with my body. And that's when I learned I had the kidney stones. So right when COVID hit, I had I guess that by then that was my 5th surgery to have kidney stones obliterated. And I was supposed to be having my reconstruction attempt number 2 at the end of March, but because of COVID, they pushed that off. And then I found out right after recovering from kidney stone surgery, they said, okay, we can do your reconstruction in a couple weeks. So right at the beginning of May, just 4 weeks ago, I had my reconstruction number 2 and put expanders back in. So that was my 6th surgery. And 10 days later, I've had 8 surgeries. So the 6th was my kidney stone surgery. Anyway, 10 days later, infection again, a staph infection again. And so I had emergency surgery 3 weeks ago to take out the expander, clean it, put in antibiotic beads, and then I've been on antibiotics since. So that's why it's a really big deal that I'm here, because I've had 8 surgeries in 10 months now. And it's like a miracle. The doctor said, it's not likely that this will work, but there's a chance. So, it seriously has been a miracle that I'm not sick with staph infection right now. And I should find out. I have an appointment this coming week if the staph is gone. And if it's gone, then hopefully we can actually get these filled and go to that final stage of implants and be done about my year mark. But if not, then I have to start all over again. So I'm really hoping that we get this miracle. So that's kind of in a nutshell. I also am a mom. I have 6 kids. They're 12 to 23. So this has really kind of rocked my whole family, really, in a lot of ways. So I get that too for all the moms out there. It's really hard. It's hard on everybody. It's hard on your partner and spouse. It's hard on, your family, your parents and siblings. But also it's been quite the roller coaster for my kids. And I will add, we just got 4 of my children tested for the BRCA1 gene. And it's this, the saga continues. It's so crazy. My life is crazy. We actually adopted my sister and brother-in-law's 2 children. They both died in 2007. And he died of melanoma and she died of an overdose of Tylenol and alcohol. And we went and I was going to get just my kids tested, and our 4 oldest are boys. So 2 are my biological and 2 are my sister's children. And I decided to go ahead and get them all tested because we don't know if my sister had the gene or not. Well, it turns out that my 2 biological sons don't have the BRCA gene, but one of my sister's sons does. And so, again, proving that this can affect boys and girls. And now he's a carrier and we need to go get the genetic counseling. We were about to do that. This all happened the week that I ended up in emergency surgery. And he and his brother they both have this variant of unspecified significance, which just means they don't exactly know what it is yet, but they think it's probably a melanoma gene from their dad. So it continues on, and my daughters are too young to get tested yet. But yeah, it's been quite the roller coaster these past almost 11 months.
I don't know how you do it. Honestly, there is so much going on in your life.
Yeah.
For me, what is really fascinating and what I really love about you is your openness. And you are the voice, because there are people who are going through things very similar to you, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm the only person in this world that is going through all of this, and having to trying to get my reconstruction done, and having it delayed, and having this done.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you're so open and you're so real because
Thank you.
with your story and you being able to articulate that, somebody else is hearing it, and definitely your story will really resonate with them. And wow, I can't believe that your son is tested, and it shows. Cancer does not discriminate. It has no boundary. It don't care if you're male, female, rich, poor, old, young. It's there. It's going to happen if,
Right. Yeah,
unfortunately.
and it's crazy. It is crazy because my little sister actually died of cancer too when she was 8. And she died of what's called a Wilms tumor. It's only in children. And she was diagnosed when she was 6. And then she died when she was 8. And now my mom has read that that type of cancer is associated with later breast cancer. So we assume she might have had the gene too. So it's really crazy. I mean, cancer is really, my mom's a 3-time survivor. And my mother's aunt died of breast cancer, and my dad's sister has survived breast cancer. So we just have a lot of cancer in our family. I know a lot of you out there have that same thing going on. And just to kind of say what you said, what you were talking about before, I really appreciate that comment. I remember the day I was diagnosed, and I was sitting because I've had a kind of a little bit of a social media presence just from being an author and a psychologist, and I wasn't sure, am I going to totally go public with this? Am I going to keep it private? Because I hadn't shared that I was even going in for the biopsy and stuff. I really thought I was going to be negative because I had had one before. And I made this conscious choice right there at that time to say, okay, you know what? I think I'm just going to go totally open, totally 100%. But I had no idea what that would mean at the time because I really didn't. At first, I started off with like, yeah, I'm going to beat this. And, you start off in this, I call myself breast cancer warrior. And, that's kind of what I look like in my chemotherapy pictures with my robe. I wore a cape and a crown, and I did all these things to make you feel strong because I think you just kind of have to do that to get yourself through those times of chemotherapy, especially, and the surgeries and the other things. But I will say that, man, 8 surgeries has beat me down. And I feel like chemotherapy, even just that, it like breaks you down to the core. That's what it does. Its whole job is just to break you down to the core of nothing. And then you have to like figure out, who am I now? And you have to start rebuilding. And every time I've tried to do that since then, it feels like I've been shut down with, oh, now you're going to have another surgery. Nope. Now you're going to get another infection. Nope. Now you're going to. So it's been really tricky. And so I've gone live crying after therapy. Not live, but I've shared videos of myself, in bed in the middle of the night, can't sleep, crying about, the trauma of it all, talking about just how angry I am, frustrated with my kids because my daughter, for instance, who's 16, had a really hard time with this. And for months, while I was going through chemo, she was severely depressed and suicidal, So I can't even function. And my daughter's telling me she wants to kill herself. It was just horrible. So I will say that I feel like one thing I've been able to do is give a voice to the emotional side of these things, because I guess that's something that I'm talented at as a psychologist. I'm trained at that, and that's also kind of who I am. I like to share that. So I hope it does give people permission to just feel what they feel, and to not have to always have that, oh, look at me, I'm a warrior, I'm a survivor, I'm positive, I'm going to beat this, but to be able to just feel whatever and go through it.
Yes, everybody deals with it differently, right? A lot
Yeah.
of people deal with it in sense, and some people have a voice. And to have someone like you, like I listen to your video, I watch your video, I listen to you just being open. I look at you being vulnerable. And for somebody with your educational and experience background being so raw and real, I think it really gives permission, allow other people to have permission to be real as well too. And I please don't stop. Please continue to
Thank
share
you.
your journey and your story. That's how I got to know you. I
Yeah.
believe we on our social media page, you're one of the people we follow, and I
Mm-hmm.
just got hooked looking at your story. For most people, like I'm not a breast cancer graduate, so I can't speak to it. I don't know what it's like to lose your hair and go to chemo and go to get radiation and go through all of these things. But you could
Mm-hmm.
speak to that. Like we started on Monday doing this series of conversation and ending up today, which is National Cancer Survivors Day. It's a day to celebrate, it's a great day to bring awareness. Um, those are the things you could speak to, and all the other ambassadors who gone before you could speak to. So now, how are your kids coping with you going through all of this? There's so much turmoil, so many things that's happening. How are
It's
they coping with it now?
I mean, I think at first they were scared, obviously, and nervous. And when they heard that it was stage one, I think that was good. And when I was able to tell them, okay, I've actually already technically beat cancer, but I still have to go through chemotherapy. They were probably more scared for me to go through chemo and what would that mean. They were scared about, I almost didn't do cold capping, and I asked my kids and they were like, we do not want you to lose your hair. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a try, because I didn't think it would work. But I mean, obviously it worked really well. But so it's been this kind of up and down. And for most of this past year, we just had our two youngest daughters home, 16 and 12 years old. And their brothers were off at college. One was serving a mission in Fiji. Well, because of COVID now, they've all come home. So literally this past week, all six of my kids are back home from 12 to 23. And it's been interesting because the older boys, they've been living out of the home, and they're very protective of me. Like even coming on this trip, no, mom, no, we're driving. We're carrying all your stuff. We're going to do everything for you. And my daughters are still kind of, my youngest one, she's very loving. She's 12. And my 16-year-old, she's the one that's really struggled. So she's still kind of like, she'll be sweet with me, but sometimes she's kind of like, you know what, you weren't there for me when I needed you the most. And I had to at one point say, you know what, you're right. I'm not there for you, and I can't be. And I've never been like that before. I've been through a lot of trauma in my life, a lot of death, a lot of loss, a lot of grief. But I could always like fight through it in a sense of like push my own grief aside and be there as a parent for my kids. But this is the first time when you really can't do that when you're that sick, especially through chemo and after surgery. So it's been this kind of up and down. It's like, we're doing okay. We're great. The kids are doing great. I'm doing great. And as soon as I start doing poorly again, they start struggling again. So it's just really, it's been a struggle, but, they're doing okay. I mean, they're at the beach right now while I'm doing this, so they're happy right now. But yeah.
Fantastic. Do you find because you need to stay positive and you need to stay upbeat for everyone, is that
Yeah.
a pressure?
Yeah. Yes, actually, yes. I was going to write about that on my blog today, but I ended up writing something else. And everybody, you can go there to drchristinahibbert.com. I ended up writing about just what it means to survive. I actually had a close friend of mine who passed away 2 years ago of pancreatic cancer. And I hate the idea that people say that she lost her battle, And I love how you guys say graduate, because I feel like, no, she was taken, but she was the biggest warrior of all. Or my little sister, she was the biggest warrior I ever knew, but she was still taken away. And I kind of shared some things of how people can honor those who are going through cancer and be there with them, because I think that's one of the hardest parts. And I think what you're talking about is so real and tough. And I struggle with it because, I've been really open right now. I'm dealing with PTSD from all of this. And it's been a really hard realization for me. The past few videos of mine have been talking about just what it feels like and what it's like. And I am in therapy, and I did start in therapy right away. I knew I would need it because I knew that I'd already had so much trauma in my life that I didn't think it would be like this. I didn't think it would go on this long, but I'm so glad I've had that. So it's hard when you feel like, I look back at my pictures and I think, gosh, I did start off so positive, and I've got all these t-shirts with all these positive messages, and now I just am kind of like, I don't know what to share because it's not all positive, and I'm having a hard time. And yesterday I completely melted down and shut the world out and put a rope across my door so nobody came in my room and the kids couldn't come and bother me because I just needed to cry, So I think there is that pressure, but I think the more we show the real, the more other people become educated about that. In fact, somebody said that recently about one of my videos. She shared the video. I was crying about the PTSD and how I just hate that I have to deal with this now. And it's not fair after you go through all this, then all of a sudden you're dealing with this. See, I'm seeing it same here. And she shared it saying, I always thought that breast cancer was kind of like this battle and, oh, these warriors and they're so tough and they're so strong and they're happy and they're doing chemo and they're smiling. And we smile in these pictures with a thing in our arm when I've been poked 8 times and and I've got a cold, like freezing negative 30 degrees cap on my head. It's ridiculous, but that's just what we do as humans. We try to make the best of it. But, I love that she said, because of what I've been sharing and that I've been sharing, like, this sucks, that she was able to say, oh, it's not like the pictures all look. It's not always this beautiful experience or this, I'm wearing a cape and I'm like a superhero, that's not what it's really like. So I hope more people can understand that. It'll help us all.
Yeah, I think so too. It's and for other people, when they see everybody being positive and they're just that's one person they think like they're alone. The realness, being real, talking about, and of course you don't want to stay in that negative area when you're down and you're fighting with yourself and you're fighting with the why me or whatever, and another failure, another thing happened to me. You don't want to stay in that area, but I think it's important to keep that side of it as well, so that they understand that you're right. It is not all about pretty, and it's not all about I'm a warrior and I'm tough. It's okay to be vulnerable as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm wearing makeup today, but this is like a totally unusual day because I usually I look horrible. I look like a raccoon. I look like I would just look like I look sick, and I have been sick. And I think it's okay to share that. I think it's really good. And I think you're right. It shows other cancer warriors that this is hard, and you are going to go through all the stages of grief over and over and over again. And you are going to, a lot of cancer warriors are going to go, experience major depression or a major anxiety disorder. I mean, I was literally shoved into menopause because of a hysterectomy, but many are because of chemo. And I mean, menopause itself and the change in hormones can make your sleep off and your anxiety levels just skyrocket. And when you go through trauma, like I have so many times, like you're going to probably experience some PTSD. So I think it's good for people to see that this is the norm, so that, the cancer warriors out there can be like, oh, okay, maybe I should talk to somebody about this, or maybe it's okay to take a medication to sleep or for anxiety because, gosh, I'm dealing with enough right now. And I also want to say that that's something I'm trying to do. I started a Facebook group, Growing Through Breast Cancer, because I wanted to have a place where people could really just talk about the emotional aspect of things, because I think that's something else. Like, there's all these groups, but a lot of it is, I had this surgery, or what do you think about this procedure, or we're always talking about the physical. And I was so shocked how few places there are to safely talk about the emotional. And that's why I love what you're doing here too.
Fantastic. I definitely have to join your group and talking about.
Yes.
So you've been on Zoom with us. You've been now on Instagram Live. So the next thing we have to do is a Facebook. Definitely in the next couple of weeks.
I love that.
Because not everyone have Instagram. A lot of our breast cancer graduates, I don't have Instagram. I can't come on. Okay, fine. I will make sure that you have.
I love that. Perfect. I would love to do that. Anything you do, I'd love to be part of it, because I think what you're doing is amazing.
Thank you. I think education is important, right? And to hear from so many different people with how they deal with stuff.
Yes.
One ambassador said she always wear makeup, even if it's just lipstick, because she doesn't want to look sick. And that is her thing, and it's okay. And you are being open and all of these things, and with that you will help other people as well too. I think it is spectacular. It is amazing. Now that because you have the voice, because you're able to articulate what you're feeling and what you're going through, and journal and tell your story and blog and get the group. For somebody what was the biggest surprise for you, first of all, I should say, when you were diagnosed with breast cancer?
Well, I have to say, I mean, the biggest surprise now, when I was diagnosed, it was just a shock that I was diagnosed. And honestly, it still feels weird to think that I have had cancer. Like that just doesn't settle into, it reminds me very much of when I've had, like my sisters have died, and it just doesn't sink in for years, it seems like. So that was a shock at the beginning. But for me, it's been just
I think
how
everybody,
many
I
setbacks.
so want everyone to tell their story, but it seems like, I don't know if it's on my side, but the internet, we're having a little bit of a challenge, like
Uh-oh.
a circle going around and around. And I want to make
Oh,
sure
darn
that
it.
we get as much of your information out, because I think it's so important, so vital. Sorry, so continue.
Well,
Hopefully,
is it any better? I don't know.
it is better now. It's a little,
Okay. If not, just let me know.
it's
But
in and out. It comes in and out.
it's kind of, yeah. I think I'm kind of hearing that too. Okay. Well, someone says they're hearing everything, so hopefully it's working for them, if not for us.
Okay, so maybe it's me. Thank you so much, Angus and Dale.
Okay, good. Thank you. So I will just say, yeah, for me, it's been, I remember when I first was diagnosed, it was like I had this plan in my head of how it was going to go. And it just didn't go like that. It hasn't gone like that. And I really everybody said, give it at least a year. And I thought that meant like a year to totally heal and be back to normal and everything. But I mean, I'm coming up on a year and I'm not even done with surgeries yet. And this was stage 1 breast cancer. This isn't like stage 4 where it's all these, like years of treatment and such. But so I think that's been a big surprise for me, is just how many setbacks and how you have a plan. One thing I've learned is that it's important to hope, and hope is incredibly, like, we need the hope. But there's a difference between hope and expectations. Mm-hmm. So we hope for the best outcome. We hope that this surgery is going to go well. I'm hoping that even though I'm getting fluid on this side, and even though whatever, that this is going to go okay and I'm not going to get an infection and it's going to all work out. But I'm not expecting it. So I've learned a difference between having that hope and that faith, but also not expecting a certain outcome, not being attached to that outcome is so powerful and helpful, because then when you're pleasantly surprised when things go well, and when things don't go well, you're kind of ready for it. You're not thinking, okay, this wasn't according to my plan, and I'm not prepared for this, and I don't know how to handle it.
Wow, that is awesome. So we have a few people joining us. As I said, Angus and Dale, they're in Newfoundland. I hope the weather is awesome out there. Then we have Nadia, one of our ambassadors, is joining us, and some of the people are coming along. So if you guys have any questions,
I see some of my friends.
Yeah, please put the message down there. Say something, say amen or something. If you agree, please have some interaction. So
yeah,
I know what is it that I think most of us, of course, today I learned, and it is so true, you don't think about cancer if you haven't gone through it. You don't do any study, you don't hear anything, you see certain things, but when you are drenched in it, when you do research and you learn it, and you like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that that's what people go through. What is it for somebody who is newly diagnosed, like somebody who just got the message, you have breast cancer? What would you tell them?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love what someone's saying here, staying positive through uncertainty. I think, gosh, when you hear those words that you have breast cancer, it's just, your brain can't comprehend right away, So first of all, give yourself time and space. And again, let yourself feel what you need to feel. I've been such an advocate of this throughout the process, because that is how you end up being positive. I think a lot of us think if we feel scared, if we feel angry, if we feel, sad or grief-stricken, which you're going to feel when you hear those words, you're diagnosed, or when you go through the process, either one, that if you do that you're being negative, and we're told all the time, it's like, I remember saying to my family, everybody's saying, don't be stressed. Stress causes cancer and negativity causes cancer. It's like, how can you not be stressed and negative? Like, it's just impossible. So it's okay to say, you know what, I am angry about it and I am hurt. It's not negative. It's actually just being real. And it helps you when you say it, when you feel it, when you can cry about it or scream about it or whatever, then you start to feel like, okay, it's like relief. Because if you bottle it all up, you're going to explode at some point. It's like a pressure cooker and eventually the lid's going to blow and it's going to be at a time when you don't want it to. So I think when you've been diagnosed, just barely diagnosed, when you're going through the process, yes, being aware of where you are at all times is going to be very, very helpful. And having someone to talk to, setting up your support system is crucial, whether that be your family. It might not be your family. Whether it be your friends, it might not be your friends. You might have to get new friends. And it's this grief process. It is a resifting of friendships and relationships. And you find out who really is there for you and who's not. So it's okay, but have somebody you can talk to. Have somebody can be with you when you are scared and can just sit with you and hold your hand and say it's okay. And, yesterday I was telling my husband, at this point, yesterday especially, I woke up and I had a nightmare from this PTSD and I was like, I don't feel safe today. I don't feel safe, and it was so great that he could sit there and just be like, okay, I'm hearing you, and he's like a typical guy. He's like a dude. So he doesn't normally get it, but it was just nice to be able to talk to him at least, because I'm not going to tell everybody, hey, guess what, everybody? I don't feel safe today, because when I don't feel safe, I'm not going to go share something online. But it's important to recognize and to be aware of where we are and then to acknowledge it. It's kind of it's like I have a theory of self-worth, and it's kind of the same process. It's like first be self-aware. Then once you're aware, you can start to accept where you are, who you are and where you are. And then you can really love yourself. But we can't love ourselves through the process if we're not aware of how we're really feeling and what's really happening, and if we're not accepting it. So we can accept what is and not like it, but then love ourselves through. And I guess that's the other huge message I've learned, and the thing I've learned through therapy especially, is incredible self-compassion, which, I thought I was pretty good at before, but I've never had to really love myself in this way and really be able to say, you know what, you are still a good mom, even though your daughter's struggling and you can't help her. You've gotten her therapy or you've got help for her. You have to take care of you. And it's never been this like black and white and essential and crucial to me to be able to have to take care of myself. But, self-compassion goes a long way too. So if you're, just love yourself. And if you can't love yourself, then do some of the work. And on my website too, I have a lot of free resources on how to work on that sense of, loving yourself too. So you could go to drchristinahibbert.com and find some resources there too.
Absolutely. We will share some of that on our social media platforms as well. And maybe we will steal some of your stuff and put it on our website, or a link back to your
Go
website.
for it.
It is.
Go for it. Absolutely.
I think some of what you're putting out there is so positive and needed. That is really awesome. So what is next for you? Have you gone back to work? Are you able to and that's talking about these things is important, because here you are 1 year later. Have you gone back to work?
Yeah.
Could you go back to work when you're dealing with all of these things?
I know. I thought I would have been after this kidney stone surgery, but then when I did the reconstruction again, and now I'm having more complications. So no, I haven't gone back to work. I definitely haven't been able to see clients because I'm in my own therapy. So I'm not ready to help other people yet, but I want to do that. And that's part of that Facebook group, Growing Through Breast Cancer, is when I'm ready, I want to make it a once a month. We're going to do like an emotional support group that I'll run for free. But honestly, when all this started last year, I thought I was finally having a year of flourishing. I always talk about overcome, become, and flourish. And I always felt like I've been overcoming. And finally, I felt like I was flourishing. And I was actually halfway through writing my 4th book and looking for publishers, Mastery of Motherhood. I did my first 2-day live event where I taught this whole course that I developed, Mastery of Motherhood, for 2 days. And then bam, just like, nope, sorry, we're going to go back to overcoming again. So, I know that I need to find a new normal. And I know that I don't want to go back to the same level of busy I was before. I want to really live more and not just be busy all the time. But I really am looking forward to being able to serve in the ways that I used to through therapy, doing therapy, finishing my book. And I know I've got a breast cancer book in me. I've got 10, 20 books in me. I don't know what's next, but definitely get back to writing and spend a lot more time writing and speaking, because that's what I love to do. That's what I'm passionate about. Hopefully a TED Talk related to breast cancer. I think we could do something really powerful there. So that's probably coming up soon, I hope.
I think that's so awesome. I think it's awesome. It's so funny because you're talking about your new normal, but yet you list all of these things. And
I know. See, that's what I mean. Then I always have to hold myself back. Just don't think about it. Don't work on that. Just rest. So I'm still in the just rest phase. Don't do any of that. But I have a million ideas. So
trust me, I understand. Of all the people in this world, I get it. It's like you can't sit still.
Right.
There's something coming up, something new. Definitely.
I know. That's been hard.
It is important because, as I say, you are the voice for a lot of the voiceless. You definitely are able to articulate so much of what people are thinking and feeling. But yet, you're right. The new normal have to somehow compass a little bit of your time, me time, rest.
Yes.
Walking on.
And I want to keep that. Exactly. I need to keep that self-compassion. That's my number one goal, is really to keep that. I think, especially as a mom, we women are terrible at that. It's, putting ourselves first. And really I've learned that it's good for us to do that. I mean, I've taught this, but I really get it. Now when I'm healthy, then I can give back. But when I'm not healthy, I really, really can't. And I've learned that in a hardcore way this year, and that's been tough. So I do definitely need to keep the self-compassion, the self-care, all of these pieces, the self-love, and take it into my life, into the next step, and then pray a lot and figure out what's next for me. There's a lot of potential out there. I always believe that everything we go through, we can grow through. So, my first book is This Is How We Grow. It's all about growing through when my sister died and we inherited our kids. So it's just, I feel like that's what my life has been given to me for, and why I've been given a lot of challenges in my life is because then I get to learn and then firsthand go teach others how to grow through it too. So I know I'll be doing that.
Absolutely. And I think and you are doing it. You are doing it.
Oh, thank you.
Such an amazing job of teaching others what you've learned and what you've gone through. I mean, even the cold cap, we need to talk a little bit about that. I am not quite sure. I believe it is available here, and I promise you, for the next time we get together, I will do a little bit of research about cold cap in here in Canada.
Cool.
I did see a piece on it a couple of years ago, I think it's on CBC, about cold capping. So I need to find out a little bit more about that, because
a lot of people don't know. I had no idea it was even a thing until my doctor said, "Hey, do this." And it's like, really? I can keep my hair? That's amazing. So,
how much hair did you lose?
I would say I lost about probably 20%, really you could really only tell around the front where it looked bald for a while. And then it's thinned out, but I have a ton of hair. So I know that did help. But, I was pretty hardcore about it, and it is hard. It's hard. It's expensive. Most insurance companies don't cover it, and it's not ideal for every situation. If you have a really long-term chemotherapy, it's probably not going to work for you, but it does also help your hair grow back faster. A lot of people have done it and lost all their hair, and then their hair just grows back faster. So, it's a good, I feel like the one thing I feel like with that, it's kind of like being able to choose your doctor or choose your reconstruction. It's just another option for those who have absolutely no control in your life. You feel like you have no control over anything. So for me to be able to control losing this hair was it was just a gift for me, especially with all the other complications. I just keep saying, when I was boobless and I had one boob and all these other things, Like, at least I'm not bald right now too. You know, that would be really harsh for me. So even though I lost my eyebrows and all that other stuff, so you know that I would have lost all my hair. But yeah, it's just another thing you can have some sense of control over if you want to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, as I say always, I think you're amazing. I think
Thank you.
are the way you conduct yourself through the whole journey, and to be able to, you want to give back, not just keep it there. And I thank you for opening up and deciding to share your stories with others. And
Thank you.
yeah, and thank you so much for agreeing to be with me today. And I know definitely your story will inspire others, whether it is a graduate or just somebody who's just listening, and they will learn a lot from your message. And I will definitely keep watching your videos, and I will definitely get in touch with you so we could do a Facebook live, so that the ladies and gentlemen on that side of social media will be able to hear and learn from you and appreciate you just the way I do. So thank you.
Thank you. I love that. And thank you so much for being such a great supporter, not just to me, but to all the survivors out there. And I just want to tell all of the cancer survivors that just how much I love you all. And I have to say that's one of the best gifts, is that you are part of this incredible sisterhood, you know, brother and sisterhood with other survivors. And gosh, that's one of the best things I've gained through this also.
Yeah, it's a new life, and it's a new normal, and to be able to reach out and meet all these people and share stories, common goals, common things, what you've gone through, your highs and your lows. I think it is wonderful to have that fraternity, that group. Yes. Wow.
It is. So everybody, way to survive and thrive and fight and whatever you're doing. Thank you.
Whatever it is, you're a survivor, you're a graduate, warrior, whatever you choose,
whatever you call yourself.
That's good. By all means,
it's a fight. So
something.
yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, Alicia.
Thank you so much. Fighting spirit, of course. Yeah. Whatever you want to call yourself that. Thank you so much, Dr. Christina. Right. All the best. Enjoy
My
the
pleasure.
rest of the and I will be in touch shortly, okay? Love you very much.
Sounds good. I love you too. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
So there we go. What an incredible, incredible woman. And I just love her fighting spirit. As Dale and Angus said, I think she's so real. She's so open. And I know her story will definitely resonate with a lot of people because she's so honest and open. So once again, thank you so much for joining us here on Instagram Live as we feature some of these ambassadors, these fighters, these warriors, these graduates, survivors, telling their stories, telling you their stories. And I look forward to seeing you again. And thanks a lot. This is the last of our series of Instagram Live for leading up to National Survivor Week Day. And I thank everyone for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Lots of love. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.